You could feel it from the moment the first paparazzi camera flashed. Something electric, something volatile, something about to explode. Because when Meghan, the world's most polarizing former royal, walked into Kris Jenner's 70th birthday gala, she wasn't stepping into a party. She was stepping into a trap of her own making. Beverly Hills glimmered that night. There were marble fountains spilling champagne and guests dressed like undercover millionaires. Chandeliers shaped like martini glasses dangled from the ceiling, and the air itself seemed to hum with ego and envy. At the center of it all was Kris Jenner, the reality queen turned empire builder, throwing the most talked about Bond night Hollywood had ever seen. Her theme was simple: diamonds, danger, and don't you dare look away. Everyone who mattered was there. Billionaires, movie legends, and influencers whose smiles were whiter than reason itself. Even Jeffrey Bezos, the space-obsessed mogul, showed up looking like Mr. Monopoly Goes Galactic. The Kardashian daughters floated in like fashion deities. And then, bam, all the noise stopped. Because Meghan had arrived. The double doors swung open as though the air itself had been rehearsed. The story of how this one night spiraled into a PR inferno, a family feud, and a brutal Hollywood takedown is one for the ages. Before we unpack every disastrous detail, from the poppy pin scandal to the leaked video that broke the internet, it would mean the world to us here at the Ruby Report if you would hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss a moment of this royal drama. Meghan stepped in slow, precise, every movement designed for maximum flashbulb impact. Her gown, a black sequin number with a neckline sharp enough to slice diamonds, caught the light like a siren's call. Her husband, Prince Harry, trailed behind her, his face stiff, his smile thin, every inch of him wishing he were anywhere else. The crowd rippled. People whispered into their champagne flutes. Phones came out faster than corks could pop. This wasn't supposed to happen. Because back in the palace, while the royal family stood shoulder to shoulder in silent remembrance for their fallen heroes, Meghan and Harry, once symbols of military service, were 5,000 miles away, clinking glasses under a neon martini chandelier. The optics were a disaster waiting to detonate. News outlets back home already had the split screen ready. On one side, the royal family, heads bowed, poppies pinned with solemn dignity. On the other, Meghan and Harry, laughing beneath a disco ball. The headline practically wrote itself: "From duty to disco, the Duchess of Drama strikes again." But if anyone thought Meghan didn't know exactly what she was doing, they were dead wrong. Because nothing she did was ever accidental. According to whispers in Beverly Hills, the Kardashian party wasn't just a birthday, it was a meeting of power. Rumors swirled that Kris was planning a new global streaming empire, a fusion of reality TV and royal fantasy, and Meghan wanted in. She had already burned her bridges in London. Now she was looking to rebuild her empire, American style. When she glided toward the center of the ballroom, the effect was instant. Every lens tilted toward her. Every conversation froze mid-sentence. Even Kris Jenner's diamond-encrusted smile twitched ever so slightly. "Oh, she's not here for cake," someone whispered near the bar. "She's here for a comeback." Meghan's laugh floated across the room, the soft, rehearsed, and controlled laugh that photographers mistake for a natural moment. But you could see it in her eyes, that unblinking determination, that hunger for validation. It wasn't joy, it was strategy. Her husband, Harry, on the other hand, looked like a man who'd wandered into the wrong movie. Every photo captured the same pained expression, the polite grin of someone silently screaming for an exit. He fiddled with his drink and tried to look invisible. Meanwhile, Meghan was in her element, floating from table to table, dropping names like jewels. "Darling, I adored your last project. Let's absolutely collaborate. You know, Kris and I go way back." But there was one problem. No one was buying it. The A-listers smiled, nodded, and turned back to their conversations. The crowd wasn't dazzled, they were amused. And then it happened. The moment that broke the internet. In a room filled with symbols of respect for Bond, for glamour, for remembrance, Meghan's gown had no poppy pin. It was a tiny detail, a blink, and you'd miss it oversight. But when someone filmed her up close, continuing to pose and laugh, social media erupted like a volcano. The comments were brutal. Symbol of sacrifice meets symbol of self-promotion. She didn't drop it. She dropped her dignity. By sunrise, the hashtag Puppygate was trending. Royal commentators in London sharpened their knives. They compared images of Meghan laughing under chandeliers to photos of Princess Catherine, her serene composure and quiet grace. It was the contrast that did the damage. As one columnist put it, while her homeland bowed its head in remembrance, Meghan bowed hers for camera flashes. Behind the scenes, her team went into panic mode. They had turned Remembrance Weekend into a PR inferno. But here's where it gets really delicious. Insiders claim the Kardashian team themselves weren't exactly innocent. Whispers suggest that Kris Jenner, knowing full well Meghan's presence would explode online, had used her for ratings. Translation: Kris might have invited Meghan not out of friendship, but out of cold, hard strategy. And when the party photos dropped on social media the next morning, the proof was right there. 20 glimmering photos of A-list guests, but not one single image of Meghan or Harry made it to Kris's official posts. It was a silent snub, a digital exile. The morning after Kris Jenner's party, Los Angeles woke up to chaos. While most guests were nursing hangovers, Meghan's name was burning up the internet like wildfire. Shaky phone videos, leaked close-ups, and snatched audio from inside sources were everywhere. Clips of the infamous puppy incident, her laughing at the wrong moment, even a grainy shot that seemed to show her snapping at Harry near the champagne fountain. The caption read, "When the fairy tale starts glitching in real time." Within 6 hours, hashtag Meghan Meltdown trended in 32 countries. But the most devastating blow came at exactly noon. Kris Jenner posted a slickly edited highlight reel of the party, a masterclass in branding. It was perfection, except Meghan wasn't in a single shot. Not a background blur, not a reflection in a champagne glass. It was as if she'd never been there at all. The caption was simple, elegant, and devastating. "Thank you to everyone who made my night sparkle." And just like that, Kris Jenner had done what no palace statement could do. She had erased Meghan from Hollywood. The silence of omission was louder than any scandal headline. She got uninvited retroactively, one comment read. "Erased by editing, the ultimate LA revenge," said another. By mid-afternoon, Meghan's PR team was in full crisis mode. Sources say she felt betrayed, used, like Kris had staged the entire night just to humiliate her. Her team allegedly called Kris's camp, demanding the footage be re-edited, but they were met with ice-cold silence. As if the fire couldn't get any hotter, new footage dropped. A leaked 17-second clip shot on a guest's phone hit TikTok and set the algorithm ablaze. It showed Meghan storming toward the valet area outside the mansion, her face tight, gesturing sharply at Prince Harry. He tried to calm her, one hand raised, but she yanked her arm away. You couldn't hear everything, but one line cut through the chaos like a knife. "They used me, Harry. They used me for ratings." The clip ended with the sound of a car door slamming. Within an hour, it had 5 million views. By dinner time, 15 million. Meanwhile, back in the UK, a palace aide told the Times of London, "This kind of exposure confirms why certain individuals were never suited for the Crown's responsibility." Translation: the firm saw this coming from miles away. Prince William reportedly broke his silence privately, telling friends his brother's American experiment had become a global embarrassment. Meghan's team tried to flip the narrative, releasing a polished, defensive statement about her commitment to service, respect, and authenticity. But the public wasn't buying it. Harry's face from the leaked clip became a meme. Hashtag Prince of Regret trended on X. "You can leave the palace." One viral tweet read, "But you can't leave the pressure." Behind closed doors, things were worse. Insiders said Harry felt blindsided, furious that their private arguments were being dissected by millions. He begged her to stop feeding the fire, but she felt cornered. And when Meghan feels cornered, she performs. So that night, she did something bold and reckless. She opened her phone and posted her own version of events, a raw, furious, defiant video. I will never apologize for living my truth, she declared. It should have been empowering, but her brittle, wounded tone only fueled the frenzy. Then came the final blow, delivered by Kris Jenner herself. At a charity gala 2 days later, a reporter asked her about Meghan's online rant. Kris smiled sweetly and said, "Oh, I don't engage with negativity. My parties are for people who bring joy, not chaos." The clip went viral instantly. The laughter from the press pit was merciless. Kris didn't need to raise her voice. She had already won. By the end of the week, Meghan's Hollywood alliances began to crumble. Brand partners distanced themselves. Her lifestyle launch was postponed. She had wanted to reclaim relevance, but instead, she'd become a cautionary tale, proof that in the court of public opinion, the crown you wear is only as strong as the silence you can keep.